All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Thank you very much.
Maha-Bharata, second part, chapter 16, Arjuna's great vow. As the sun set, Arjuna asked Krishna to drive him back to the camp. After slaying thousands of Samshaptakas, Arjuna got down from his chariot and along with Krishna offered prayers to Sandhya, the goddess of twilight. The two friends then mounted the chariot and made their way through the deepening darkness towards Yudhishthir's tent. As they traveled, suddenly Arjuna felt an inexplicable anxiety. "Oh Govinda, why am I suddenly feeling misgivings? Why is my speech faltering? I see evil portents all around me, and my limbs are becoming weak. I fear a great calamity has occurred. May all be well with the king, my venerable superior, and his followers." Having driven the chariot expertly through the day's carnage, Krishna replied, "Seeing all these slaughtered Kauravas, I think everything fares well with your brothers and ministers. Do not give way to evil thoughts. Probably a trivial calamity has taken place." Arjuna tried to accept Krishna's words, but still he was anxious. He said nothing in reply as the chariot moved across the battlefield. Now, Arjuna thought of Drona Acharya. The preceptor had been intent on capturing Yudhishthir. Had he succeeded? Arjuna trembled at the thought. If anything had happened to Yudhishthir or to any one of his brothers, Arjuna would be unable to live. Even if it were the dead of night, Arjuna would challenge the entire Kaurava army to come out and fight, and Arjuna would exterminate every last one of them. Within 1 hour, they reached the camp. As they entered its perimeters, Arjuna looked all around and said, "O Janardhan, I do not hear the auspicious sounds of drums and other instruments signifying our success. The bards and minstrels are not singing songs describing our victories, and everyone is turning their faces away when they see me. No one has come forward to salute me in the usual way. O Madhava, is everything well with my brothers? Seeing these people so obviously distressed, my mind is disturbed. Is Drupada well? Or has the ruler of Virat encountered a calamity? O Keshava, O you of undeteriorating glory, what has happened to our warriors?" Arjuna soon began to suspect the truth. Abhimanyu had always greeted Arjuna whenever he returned to camp, but today there was no sign of the boy. On his way back, Arjuna had heard from some of his soldiers that Drona had formed the Chakravyuha. Arjuna knew there were only 2 warriors on the battlefield who could break into that array, Abhimanyu and himself. Arriving at the royal tent, Arjuna dismounted and went in with Krishna by his side. As Dhananjaya entered, he saw his brothers sitting with downcast faces. No one said anything as Sabyasachi walked in. They could not hold his gaze, and they shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Then Arjuna saw the empty seat belonging to Abhimanyu. His heart stopped. Falguna approached Yudhishthir, bowing at his feet. Standing, Vijay looked into his brother's downcast face and said, "O king, you are pale. I also see that Abhimanyu is not here, nor does anyone welcome me. Today I heard that the Kauravas formed the Chakravyuha. Save and except for Abhimanyu, no one else could have penetrated that formation in my absence. But he did not know how to get out of it. Did you ask my son to enter that terrible arrangement? Has that fierce bowman, the slayer of hostile heroes, after breaking into the enemy ranks and killing thousands, has he now gone himself to the mansion of death?" Arjuna began crying. Falling to his knees, he cried out to Yudhishthir in a most piteous voice, "Oh, tell me how he fell. My son, who possessed mighty arms and reddish eyes, who was born into our race like a lion born on a mountainside, and who resembled Indradev himself. How was Abhimanyu slain in battle?" But now Arjuna saw tears in Yudhishthir's eyes also. His own eyes flooded as he realized what he had feared most was now true. The silence of his brother confirmed it. Now, taking a deep breath, Arjuna fought to control his mind. His head fell to his knees, and he sobbed. And after a few minutes, Arjuna looked up and continued speaking in a broken voice. "Tell me, what foolish warriors, urged on by evil destiny, ventured to slay my son? He resembled the highly elevated Krishna himself in prowess, generosity, and Vedic knowledge. How was he killed? If I do not see that hero, who is my second self, who is Keshava's favorite, and who was so dearly loved by Krishna's sister, then I too shall become a guest in the abode of Yamaraj. If I cannot behold Abhimanyu, that modest boy of gentle speech and kind words, who had curling dark locks of hair, with eyes like that of a young gazelle, who had the tread of a furious elephant, and shoulders like a mighty lion, oh, then I will leave at once for death's limitless domain." Krishna stood by Arjuna's side and placed his arm around his shoulders. Arjuna grieved loudly for some time, describing his son's many good qualities. Arjuna's brothers and allies sat in silence, their hearts riven with grief, as Arjuna continued. "Although younger, that boy was actually my superior. He was virtuous, grateful, obedient to his elders, and always desirous of doing us good. Self-controlled and sinless, Abhimanyu pursued only the path of piety and truth. My son was faithful and devoted to serving God in all of his actions. In battle, Subhadra's son would never strike first, nor would he attack a helpless foe. My son was the terror of his enemies and the shelter of his friends. How has such a boy been slain?" Arjuna now fell to the ground, repeatedly crying out, "Abhimanyu! Abhimanyu! Abhimanyu!" Composing himself with difficulty, Arjuna said, "Today my son lies on the bare earth like one forlorn, although he was always attended by the most beautiful women. He who was formerly attended by servants and bards chanting his glories is now attended by jackals and vultures. His face, which was worthy of being shaded by a royal umbrella, is now shaded by dust and dirt. Alas, alas! How unfortunate I am to lose you, my son, and how fortunate are the gods to gain you. Surely Yamaraj, Indra, Kubera, and Varuna, after receiving you as a welcome guest, are now making preparations for your worship." Arjuna now looked up at Yudhishthir, who looked back at him with compassion. His eyes bloodshot and his face streaked with tears, Arjuna asked, "Oh, please tell me, O best of men, has my son gone to heaven? Did he have to contend single-handedly with numerous heroes and give up his life after killing them by the thousands? Oh, surely he would have thought of me. Afflicted by that mean-minded Duryodhana and by Drona, Karna, Kripa, and others, Abhimanyu must have thought, 'Oh, my father will rescue me.' Yes, I think all those ruthless warriors killed him while he was calling out to me. Or it may be, as he was conceived in the womb of a Vrishni princess, that he did not make such exclamations." Now Arjuna censured himself. How he had allowed himself to be taken away from the main fight? Obviously, Duryodhana had concocted a plan which required Arjuna's absence. Why had he not seen it? If he had, Abhimanyu would still be alive. Without thinking about his kinsman's welfare, Arjuna had rushed off, desiring glory in battle. Now his own son was dead. Arjuna cried out, "Without doubt, my heart is made of stone, that it does not shatter into fragments. Surely it will break apart when I hear the lamentations of Subhadra and Draupadi. And what will I say to those gentle ladies? How can I tell them that Abhimanyu now embraces the cold ground, weltering in his own blood? Indeed, what will I say to Uttara, his chaste and beautiful wife? Yes, the Kauravas may rejoice, only for as long as I do not return to the battlefield. For slaying my son, they will have to grieve as I do now." "Oh, Madhava, why did you not tell me what was happening today? Surely then I would have burnt the cruel Kauravas immediately. How could they aim their deadly shafts at such a tender boy, attacking him while I was absent? I do not think he found any protector while amongst those vicious men. Oh, Krishna, how could you allow this to happen?" "Oh, my dear Jishnu, take comfort with my words. Do not give way to grief, for this is the inevitable end of heroes who never think of retreating. Those who are knowers of the Vedas have said that this is the highest and most desirable goal for the Kshatriya who knows his actual duty. Heroes always covet such an end. There is no better death for a warrior than to fall in battle while facing the enemy. Undoubtedly, Abhimanyu, your son, has gone to regions only reached by the most pious of men. So do not lament, for you are plunging yourself, your brothers, and your followers in unnecessary sorrow. You know everything, and so it behooves you to console your kinsmen at this precarious time. Take hold of yourself. Throw off this grief. Slowly, Arjuna turned to Yudhishthir. O Lord of the earth, tell me exactly how my lotus-eyed son was slain. Arjuna's voice had become cold. His grief was giving way to an intense fury. Tell me, how did he fight with our wicked foes? Yes, I will consume all of them, along with their elephants, chariots, and horses. Why, O brother, did you not do so yourself? How was my son slain, while you, Bhima, the twins, and so many other heroes were also present? Or perhaps none of you possess any prowess, because before your very eyes my son was killed. Now Arjuna gazed at the empty seat belonging to Abhimanyu. What was the use in blaming anyone for his son's death? Destiny had willed it as it wills the death of every living creature. Yet it was still hard not to show how things might have turned out different. Why had he not been by the side of his son when Abhimanyu needed him the most? Arjuna shook his head. Rather, I should blame myself. Knowing all of you to be cowards, I went away. Alas, are your weapons and armor simply mere decorations? Are your bold words meant only to impress an assembly? Why was it that all of you together could not protect my son? No one spoke a word as Arjuna strode over to his own seat, with his long sword swinging by his side and the Gandiva bow in his hand. His eyes blazed and hot tears ran down his cheeks. Repeatedly he sighed. No one dared to even look upon him. Only Yudhishthir and Krishna, who were always agreeable to Arjuna, were able to say anything. After a few moments, Yudhishthir said, O mighty armed Vibhatsu, when you had left to fight the Samshaptakas, Drona Acharya exerted himself just to capture me. He formed the unbreakable Chakravyuha and advanced towards us, showering his fire-like shafts in all directions. At that time, I asked Abhimanyu to penetrate the formation and allow us all to enter. Without delay, your son rushed forward and entered the array, just like Garuda entering the ocean. We followed him with upraised weapons, but somehow that puny Sindhu ruler held us in check. We have heard since from Vyasdev that Jayadratha had received a boon from Mahadev that he would be able to stop us in battle. So your son was by himself in the formation. 6 Kaurava Maharathas surrounded him. They destroyed his chariot, armor, and weapons. Worn with fatigue, Abhimanyu was finally slain by a 7th warrior, the son of Dushashan. Arjuna wailed loudly. Yudhishthir paused, then went on speaking. Before dying, Abhimanyu slew countless heroes, many of them kings, many of them Maharathas. Now your son has ascended to heaven, and through the inscrutable workings of destiny, fate, the son of Subhadra has attained his destined end. Thus, we have all been plunged into a burning grief. Oh, my son! My son! My son! Now, Arjuna rolled on the ground. Everyone gazed at each other with vacant eyes. They said nothing as Arjuna expressed his grief. Gradually, Vijay composed himself and got up to his feet. Shivering as if with fever and wringing his hands, Arjuna spoke in a low, controlled voice which seethed with rage. Listen now, for what I say will be truthful. Tomorrow I will slay Jayadratha, if indeed he does not forsake Duryodhana in fear of his life. If he remains on the battlefield and does not take shelter of either Krishna or yourself, my dear King Yudhishthir, then Jayadratha will die tomorrow. And whoever tries to protect him, whether it be Drona, Kripa, or anyone else, they will find themselves struck down by my arrows. That Sindhu ruler caused the death of my very dear son. So for this act of violence towards Abhimanyu and myself as well, Jayadratha must die. Arjuna felt all of his anger directed towards Jayadratha, who had already previously shown himself to be a most despicable wretch when he had assaulted Draupadi. But this time he would not escape. Although Abhimanyu was assailed by 6 Kaurava warriors at once, and finally slain by Durjaya, it was Jayadratha who was to blame. Many times warriors found themselves overwhelmed by superior odds, but their allies and supporters would always come to their rescue. Abhimanyu would surely have been saved if the Pandavas had been able to reach him in time. Jayadratha's action was mean and unforgivable. Arjuna clasped his Gandiva bow tightly. Soon that low-minded Sindhu ruler would reap the result of his hatred for the Pandavas. Looking around at his brothers and allies, Arjuna went on speaking. If I do not kill that wretch Jayadratha tomorrow, then may I never attain the regions meant for the righteous. Let me instead go to that hell reached by those who ravish their own mothers, or those who are malicious, ungrateful, or miserly. Let me reach the dark worlds inhabited by rapists, slayers of brahmanas, betrayers of trust, men who seduce others' wives, those who are unkind to guests, and those who deceive and cheat others. If I do not kill Jayadratha tomorrow, then such will be my end. Arjuna's voice boomed and seemed to shake the whole earth. Now listen to one more vow I will make. If I do not slay Jayadratha by sunset tomorrow, I will enter blazing fire. For neither the celestials, the Asura demons, the mortals, winged creatures, Rakshasas, Rishis, nor any other moving nor unmoving creature will be able to prevent me from achieving my goal. If Jayadratha enters the nether regions or somehow ascends to heaven, Still I will find him and sever his head from his body. So when this night passes away, Abhimanyu's enemy will see me as death personified wherever he goes." After solemnly speaking these words, Arjuna violently twanged his bowstring, producing sounds which reached the heavens. At the same time, also excited with rage, Krishna blew his conch shell, creating a sound which seemed to make the universe vibrate. As word of Arjuna's vow traveled throughout the camp, the sounds of numerous drums and other instruments could be heard, along with the fierce cries of many warriors. The whole camp was now filled with a joyous uproar. Surely the next day, the Kauravas would face their worst calamity so far. The enraged Arjuna was a foe to be feared indeed. Kuru Pandava ko Yudhamachayo, Arjuna ko Upadesha Sunayo, Aishe Dina Nata ko mere Bara Pranam hai. Bhajare Bhaja Govinda Gopala Hare, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Gopala, Radhe Gopala, Radhe Gopala. Aise Shri Bhagavan ko mere Bara Pranam hai. Meanwhile, in the Kauravas camp, there was much rejoicing. Abhimanyu was one of the greatest warriors among the Pandava army. It was almost as if Arjuna himself had been slain. Surely now Arjuna would be discouraged and lose his taste for the battle, now that yet another of his sons was slain, this time his beloved Abhimanyu. Arjuna's energy would now be snapped with grief. Duryodhana praised Drona Acharya and sat in his assembly to discuss the next day's strategy. It should prove easier to encounter their now dispirited enemies. Perhaps the same formation could be employed once again. Maybe another powerful fighter could be trapped and slain. As the Kauravas were speaking, they heard some clamor from the Pandavas' camp, reverberating like the roar of the ocean. The Kauravas looked at each other in surprise. Why should the Pandavas be rejoicing? Should they not be feeling despair? Suddenly, Jayadratha burst into the tent. His face was a mask of terror. He stood gasping before Duryodhana, sweat running down his face. Duryodhana saw him trembling like a sapling in a storm. He asked Jayadratha the cause of his fear, and so he replied, "He who was begotten of Pandu's wife by the lustful Indradev, that one of perverse intellect, has vowed to kill me tomorrow. May good betide you all. But now I will return to my home just to save my life. Or, if you wish me to remain, you had better assure my safety. O king, in my view, Drona, Kripa, Karna, and you yourself, as well as all the other rulers here, are indeed capable of saving someone who is seized by death himself. Jayadratha now looked around the assembly with wild eyes. His boon from Lord Shiva could very well prove to be his destruction. He had enjoyed his moment of glory, but now as a result, Jayadratha faced the most deadly danger. Arjuna was famous for keeping his vows, and he would now be most angry. The Sindhu king continued. Having heard the rejoicing of the Pandavas, I am indeed struck with anxiety. Our spies have told me that Arjuna has vowed either to kill me tomorrow or to enter fire. The Pandavas are now filled with joy rather than grief. I think it will be wisest for me to return to my own country. No one can prevent Arjuna from fulfilling his vow, not even the gods. Oh, we are about to suffer the greatest destruction of our forces yet. Let me go now, with my identity concealed. O foremost of men, do not be afraid. What person can seek to slay you when you stand amidst the Kshatriyas assembled here? I, Duryodhana, will protect you, along with Drona, Kripa, Karna, Ashvathama, Shalya, Halika, and the other invincible heroes. Together with our troops, we will stand between you and Arjuna. Why, he will not even be able to get near you tomorrow. Drive away this fear from your heart. Duryodhana realized that it would be a most formidable task to check Arjuna from fulfilling his vow. But at the same time, this was a real opportunity to attain victory. For if Arjuna failed, he would certainly remember his promise to take his own life. And then, with both Abhimanyu and Arjuna dead, the Pandavas would be finished. Duryodhana looked down at the shaking, quaking Jayadratha. It would be well worth deploying the whole army to protect him. Jayadratha then went over to Drona Acharya. Tell me, what is the difference between me and Arjuna in the proficiency of arms? You have taught us both. How is it that Arjuna is superior to me? Of what should I be afraid of when the battle comes tomorrow? Yes, my son, I have taught both you and Arjuna equally, but by his practice of yoga and asceticism, he has become superior to you. Still, I will do everything within my power to protect you from Sabyasachi. Tomorrow, I will form such an array with all of our troops that Arjuna will never reach its end. Even the gods will not be able to pass through this arrangement, which I will create just to protect you, Jayadratha. Now Drona was smiling. Jayadratha had only himself to blame for his present predicament. Like Duryodhana, his hatred for the virtuous Pandavas would only lead to his destruction before long. Drona placed his hand on Jayadratha's shoulder and said to him, If somehow or other you should be slain, then you will attain heaven. So do not be afraid of death. You have performed sacrifices, and you have carried out your sacred duties as a Kshatriya. Therefore, fight without fear, with your mind fixed upon either victory or paradise. Although he assured Jayadratha and also understood the mind of Duryodhana, Drona Acharya knew very well that Jayadratha was as good as dead. Certainly Arjuna alone would not be able to cross the entire Kaurava army. But Arjuna was not alone. With Krishna driving his chariot, Bibhatsu could cross the universe, passing the 4 Lokapalas in order to steal the divine nectar from the gods. Even without fighting, no doubt Krishna would find some way to protect his friend. And he would need to, for Arjuna would face an almost impossible task the next day. Cheered on by Drona, the warriors shouted and blew their kanchals. The Kaurava leaders began to plan their strategy for the following day. Jayadratha felt his fear vanished, and he set his heart on battle. Perhaps Arjuna's vow would be a blessing in disguise. Lord Shiva's boon may yet prove to be a boon indeed if it ended up causing the destruction of the Pandavas. After hearing Arjuna make his vow, the Pandavas and their followers spent a little time discussing their strategy and then retired for the night. They would decide the next day's battle plans in the morning after they received information from their spies as to how the Kauravas were reacting to the news of Arjuna's promise. Arjuna sat alone in his tent, burning with both grief and anger. He could hardly wait for the battle to begin. For over an hour, Arjuna sat on his bed without moving, his face covered by his 2 hands. As he sat, shedding tears, Krishna came in and sat down by his side. Keshava spoke softly but reproachfully. "O Partha, without first seeking my advice, you have made a difficult vow. That was rash. You have placed a heavy burden on your shoulders. Alas, how will we avoid becoming the butt of ridicule? I have heard from the spies that Drona vows to protect Jayadratha. He will form a tremendous array, guarded on all sides by the best of the Kauravas. 6 mighty Maha-Bharatas, Karna, Ashvathama, Bhurishrava, Kripa, Vrishasena, and Shalya. They will all stand in the front of the array. Drona Acharya himself will stay within a secondary formation, with Jayadratha by his side. So you will first need to vanquish those 6 heroes and then pass through a thick array of fighters before you can even come anywhere near the Sindhu king. Then you will have to fight the preceptor." Arjuna did not reply. Krishna placed his arm around Arjuna's shoulder. "In the morning, we will consult with your brothers and the allies. We need to come up with a strategy to ensure that your vow can be kept. However, O son of Pandu, it will not be easy to accomplish." Arjuna now lifted his head. His voice was almost a growl. "Those 6 chariot fighters you have named are not equal to even 1/2 of my power. you will see me cut apart all their weapons. The Sindhu ruler is a dead man. Before the eyes of his wailing followers and also in front of the eyes of Drona, I will sever the head from the body of Jayadratha. Even if a celestial army, headed by all the principal gods, tries to protect him, and even if I must fight against the personified oceans, mountains, heaven, earth, quarters, their regions, and all mobile and immobile beings, still you will see Jayadratha slain by my arrows. I swear by truth itself, nothing will stop me, especially with you at my side, O Janardhan. My success is certain. Arjuna continued expressing his determination and confidence for quite some time. He was prepared to face even death personified, armed with its irresistible staff. Tomorrow, you will see me rip open the enemy ranks with blazing shafts, like thunderbolts rending a mountain. Arrows shot with the speed of the mind will fall by the tens of thousands from my Gandiva bow. I will not restrain myself whatsoever. All men will witness the power of the weapons that I have obtained from Yamaraj, Kubera, Varuna, Indra, and even Maheshwara Shiva. I will throw the Brahma missile and annihilate anyone who tries to stand in my way. The earth will be filled with the bodies of men, horses, and elephants, all of them bleeding profusely, deprived of life itself. Arjuna now got up to his feet and stood before Krishna with his Gandiva bow clasped in his hand. His face was flushed and his lips trembled. That sinful Jayadratha has forgotten his kinship with us and bears us only hatred. I will strike him down tomorrow, making his friends and followers grieve. Arjuna ached for the battle to begin. His arrows seemed ready to leap from his quivers, and the Gandiva bow was vibrating in his hand. But he could not understand Krishna's apprehension. What possibility was there of the Kauravas standing against him in his present mood? Falguna placed his bow in its golden case. Unfastening his gleaming armor, Arjuna asked, "Oh, Rishikesha, why do you admonish me? You know of my prowess, and you also know your own. When we are together, what are we not able to achieve? Jayadratha may be counted amongst those already slain in the battle. I am Vibhatsu of unwavering vows, and you are Narayana. Truth resides in the Brahmanas. Humility is seen in the pious. Prosperity attends sacrifice. And victory, O Keshava, is always with you. When this night has passed, you should ready my chariot, filling it with every kind of weapon. Yes, a great task is at hand." Arjuna and Krishna sat together, breathing like a pair of infuriated serpents. Afflicted by grief, Arjuna felt unable to rest. Krishna also displayed great sorrow. While the Pandavas had been in the forest, it was Krishna who helped raise Abhimanyu, acting like a loving father toward his nephew. The boy had always been with Krishna. Krishna had personally taught Abhimanyu many of his martial skills, and they had often hunted and sported together in the forests surrounding Dwaraka. Meanwhile, up in heaven, seeing both Arjuna and Krishna excited with rage, the gods, headed by Indra, became anxious. Surely the universe might be destroyed if they both gave vent to their anger. Many ill omens were to be seen. Dry winds blew. Thunder rumbled in the clear sky. Thunderbolts fell to earth. The earth itself trembled. Rivers flowed backwards, while the cries of jackals and crows echoed everywhere. Arjuna requested Krishna to go to the women's quarters and console Subhadra. The Vrishni princess, along with Draupadi and other royal ladies, had come to the battlefield to be with their husbands. Krishna went to Subhadra's tent and found her lying on the ground, weeping like a female osprey. Taking his seat near her, Krishna spoke consolingly. O daughter of Vasudeva, O daughter of the Vrishni race, do not give way to this grief. Abhimanyu has met the end which is always sought by heroes. After slaying the enemy by the thousands, your son has ascended to the highest regions of heaven. Although a mere youth, Abhimanyu has attained a destination difficult to reach even for accomplished yogis. Surely this is his good fortune. O amiable one, you are the wife of a hero, the daughter of a hero, the mother of a hero. Since you are also born into a race of heroes, you should not lament one who has met a hero's death. Nor will his death go unavenged. Tomorrow you will hear that your husband has severed the head of Jayadratha from his trunk. Rise up, renounce your fever of grief, for you must now console your daughter-in-law, my dearly beloved sister. From where she was laying, Subhadra looked at Krishna. Her eyes were red and her face streaked with mascara. Her ornaments were strewn around her on the floor. Nearby, her garland lay crushed. Her words were frequently interrupted by sobs. Alas, alas, my son, born of such an unfortunate woman. Why did you go to war? O son, you are equal to Arjuna in battle. So how could you perish? How can I see your dark and handsome face now soiled with dust, smeared with blood, as you lay on the cold ground? Having the Pandavas, Vrishnis, and Panchalas as your protectors, by whom have you been slain like someone helpless? Fie on Bhima's strength! Fie on Arjuna's prowess! Fie on the Panchalas' might! What use is their power when they could not save a child from dying before their very eyes? Oh, today I see this earth vacant, destitute of all beauty, for I cannot see you, my son. Oh, my eyes are blinded by grief. My mind is utterly confounded. Oh, my child, you were like a hoard of treasure, seen and lost in a dream. Alas, everything in this world is fleeting and unreal, like foam upon an ocean. And while his sister Subhadra poured out her sorrow, Krishna remained silent. She tossed about on the costly carpet, covering the floor of her tent. Her silk garments were in disarray, and her raven black hair hung loose and disheveled. Beating her breasts, Subhadra cried out to her slain son, "O my child, tell me, How shall I comfort Uttara? Overwhelmed by sorrow, she resembles a cow bereft of its calf. Surely the ways of destiny are mysterious, for even though you had Keshava as your protector, you have been slain by evil men. O beloved son, O Abhimanyu, may you attain that end reached only by the most pious of men, that end which is reached by those who perform the strictest of vows, those who are self-controlled, modest, truthful, charitable, and devoted to duty. May you ascend to the eternal regions that belong to men who are faithful and always devoted to the Lord's service, those who have given up all selfish thoughts and who live only for the welfare of others. As Subhadra rolled about in grief, Draupadi came into the tent, accompanied by Uttara. Also lamenting, they dropped to the ground next to Subhadra. The three ladies appeared like three mad creatures as they fell about, uttering pitiful cries. With tears in his eyes, Krishna sprinkled cool water on their faces. With his voice shaking, Krishna addressed them. O Subhadra, throw off this grief. O Panchali, O Uttara, take heart. O most beautiful ladies, rather than lament, we should pray that all the members of our race attain the same state as that which Abhimanyu has attained. All other warriors united can only dream of achieving the feats Abhimanyu has single-handedly accomplished in battle. Krishna then took leave from the ladies and went back to Arjuna's tent. It was past midnight, and the servants had spread out an auspicious bed of kusha grass, decorated with flower garlands, sprinkled with perfume on a thick rug. With his weapons by his side, Krishna reclined peacefully, placing his head on his own arm. And within the tent, Brahmanas performed the usual nightly ceremony of offering the victims of battle to Lord Shiva, so that he might guide them safely to their next destination. Arjuna worshipped Krishna with various offerings. Then he lay next to him on his own bed. Krishna spoke. O son of Pritha, take rest now. You will have to achieve tremendous feats tomorrow. Arjuna was now assuaged and pacified by Krishna's care and attention. He lay there, gazing up at the high roof of the tent. Arjuna's mind was flickering between thinking of Abhimanyu and thinking of Jayadratha. Oh, that sinful wretch should have been slain long ago when he first insulted Draupadi. But now this time, Yudhishthir would not protect Jayadratha. Soon he would taste the bitter fruits of his wicked inclinations. And as Arjuna lay there, thinking in this way, he fell into a fitful sleep.